Hello and welcome to Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio. This is Stefan, your host, British by birth, American by choice. The Founding Fathers crafted some remarkable documents that led to the creation of a great country founded on liberty and self-reliance. I have lived in the Euro-socialist nightmare, and I'm doing what I can to return this country to the vision that the Founding Fathers gave us. We need to strive to rebuild that shining city on the hill, for without us, the world has nowhere to turn for freedom. For the next hour, I will be presenting news, views, and guests that help keep the true spirit of America alive. And good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever, whenever you're listening, but especially if you're listening live. This show is going out at 11 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday, November the 4th. Yes, that's right, Election Day, and the results are streaming in, but we don't have a definitive answer for you right now. At the last count, I think we were at +5 of the +6. The net gain in the Senate. That's really the most important item that we're looking for tonight. But a lot of other areas that need to be watched as well. So, interesting evening. Now, of course, I know I have a lot of listeners who don't listen live, so they will have had the full results of the elections probably come out. As far as we know, there may be a couple of runoffs, or at least one runoff that we're fairly certain will happen, and one that we thought might happen that won't. But that runoff, I'm hoping, is not really going to make any difference to the end result. So it's going to be interesting to see how things go throughout the week, and of course next week we'll have a further analysis. But the intention tonight is really to talk about what's going on, but really also what my thoughts and others are on what will happen next if the Senate does turn over to the GOP, as seems right now, while not 100% certain, very, very, very certain that this will happen one way or the other. As I said, right now we're at +5, so if we lose one, there are about 3 other ones that could still go in the GOP favor. I think right now we've got Iowa, we've got Alaska. Even in New Hampshire, Scott Brown has said he's not giving up because the race is very close. In Virginia, which is surprising everybody, Ed Gillespie is, I think, just 1,000 or 2,000 votes behind. He was 400 ahead. Now he's 2,000 behind, but also very, very close, and with recounts and everything. Of course, we know when the regressives start recounting, all sorts of votes appear from the strangest places, but hopefully we won't have too many of those shenanigans. So who knows what will happen, but I'm going to try and keep my live listeners abreast. And let's have a look, see who's here in the chat room. So Paul and Rex have arrived. Welcome, guys. An exciting evening. I want to say thanks to Paul. Paul sent me an email. Just a reminder to my other listeners, if you're listening to the recording, you can always go to my website, www.patrickcomelately.us. And at that website, there is a contact form. It's an easy way to send me an email. Or if you want to do it directly from your own email, you can do that by sending a message to stefan@patrickcomelately.us. Love to hear from my listeners. And, Paul, thank you for sending your email. He commented on a question that I put about it was about the fact that Obama seemed to have suddenly jumped into action on Ebola after the second nurse turned out that had caught it turned out to be a black nurse. Was this just coincidence or not? And Paul feels it probably was coincidence. I sort of agree. I threw it out there, like I said, a bit controversial. I guess as talk show hosts occasionally like to throw out a controversial question to see if our listeners are awake, and it proved that at least somebody was listening because he did get back on it. I agree with Paul. It's probably coincidence, but you know, with this regime, with this administration, you never know. There are so many strange things come out of the woodwork, and we might talk about a couple of those. A lot of them are lower levels, but as I've said before, it's the tone is set by the leader, or the lack of leadership in this case, and people then just go off and do whatever they want and do what they think the leader would like, and so we get all these strange shenanigans and whatever. But anyway, and I'm going to take short breaks. I think I'm going to bump in some music here and there just to let you know what's going on. While the music is playing, I can go off on my other computer and find out if more results have come in and see what's going on. Lots of fun. It's an exciting evening. It looks like it's going to be a pretty good evening for the GOP, and like I said, lots of analysis on that, but we'll talk about some other things around that as well. So, folks, we're going to get started. Lean across and get my notes. And let's see, what else did I want to say? Yes, so right now, the latest news I have, for those of you that are listening live, is that we are still at +5 for the GOP in the Senate. And Fox News is now officially calling that David Perdue will beat Michelle Nunn. But this is not a plus, because the retiring Republican was Senator Saxby Chambliss, so it is it doesn't affect the net, but it was one of those areas where the Democrats felt very strongly that they would be able to put a minus in the net column and take us from +5 to perhaps +4. This is not going to happen, and apparently the margin is big enough that there won't even be a runoff necessary, and that is really a turn up for the books. It really shows that there is definitely a swing to the Republicans that is much greater than anybody had expected. There were so many close races where the swing has become very large, and we look at things like even in Kansas, where Senator Roberts defeated the independent Orman, who'd been ahead for a few points for a long time, and Roberts had narrowed the gap, but was still sort of 1 or 2 points behind in the polls. But he beat Orman. It's been called for that one as well. Just amazing that I think the polling. The pollsters got it wrong again, and there's more of a swing to the GOP than anybody expected. And I think, my interpretation, and I'm not a pollster, I don't study the pollsters that much, but my interpretation is that people were ignoring the fact that a lot of these polls were showing sort of 48, 47, or 44, 45, or 40, 43, 47 even, things like that. But they were showing a less than 100% total of people choosing either of the two main candidates, obviously in most cases GOP or Democrat. And there was a large amount there that was either going to libertarians or other independent candidates. We had one here in Georgia, and we thought that would force a runoff for David Perdue. It did not. But also, I think a lot of them were people who were telling the pollsters, I don't know, and they were totally being ignored in the projections that the pollsters were making. And if you think about it, a lot of those people that said, I don't know, to the pollsters, it seems that most of them broke towards the GOP in the end. And that wasn't factored in, given the mood of the country, really surprises me. Now, there are a few places where Democrats were able to beat Republicans. I think one or two House seats. I think one or two governorships, yet there were also a number of governorships where Republicans beat Democrats. So again, I think there's a net gain there. The gain in the House seems to be in the double-digit area. Good news for the Republicans, bad news for us conservatives, because it means weepy, whiny Boehner is unlikely to face any revolt from inside his party if he was that successful, and I'll tip my hat to him. If he was that successful, I guess he deserves some kudos, and probably, he will continue on. And so we will continue to have Boehner, and then it looks like Mitch McConnell leading the Senate. And let's not forget, Mitch McConnell is the one who promised to basically to get rid of the Tea Party and to undermine the Tea Party in all ways. So no love lost for Mitch McConnell, but they've got the Senate, and a bad Mitch McConnell is much, much better than anything like the dingy Harry that we had before. So we'll have to live with him, and we'll just have to hope that the likes of Rand Paul and Ted Cruz and Mike Lee are man enough to stand up to Mitch McConnell, and hopefully there were enough people of a more conservative nature who did well again this time round, that we can continue to put the pressure on the Republican elite there in Washington and make sure that they don't go too much in the direction of big government. And remember that, folks, while we say, okay, it's good that the Republicans looks like they're going to win and get that control of both houses, remember that the Republican establishment is all in favor of big government. They are almost as big government as the Democrats. The only difference between the two is that the Republicans say we can do it better, and that's not really, to me, that's not really the way things should be. We should really be having some conservatives in there and reducing government. And with this victory that our friend John Boehner had, we are not going to hear a lot of smaller government coming from the GOP establishment for the moment. But let's not give up hope. It's better than nothing, and we definitely should be. Let's be thankful that it looks like Dingy Harry will be retired. I think that is a major step. The big question is now what's going to happen to all the bills, those 380 bills. I asked that question last week. And if not those 380 bills, they may disappear because they were from this session and they may not apply in the next session. So we may have to start again, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of bills arriving on King Barry's desk. So we'll have to see what's going to happen there. In the meanwhile, as I said, for listeners who already know all of the results, we're also going to talk other topics: voter fraud, election shenanigans, and I think also a little bit of celebratory music. Let's enjoy the evening, and just have so much, even though it's not perfect, it's a good result, and that's really what we need to enjoy. And, the fact, I'm just saying, we're, at this point of the evening, we're +5 with about at least 3 that are likely to go in the GOP's direction. There's a couple of ones that the Democrats thought they could win. As I said, Georgia and Kansas, they're not going to happen. So that all of that along the line, that's good news, folks. I think we deserve to have a little bit of fun tonight, and let's enjoy the moment. And then we're going to have to spend the next 2 years teaching the Republicans how they need to govern and we'll talk about that a little bit later, and some of the other things going on. Well, it's time for a quick commercial break. So, folks, stick with me. I'll be back after these messages.
You can lose 10, 20, 30 pounds or more with Maximum Slim's first ever rapid weight loss guarantee. Today, you get Maximum Slim, an advanced fat and carb blocker, absolutely risk-free. The all-natural ingredients in Maximum Slim are a powerful weight loss combination. The Maximum Slim formula turns your body into a fat-burning furnace that supercharges your weight loss. Advanced fat and carb blocker stops the breakdown of sugar so your body doesn't store it as fat. Today, you'll get both of these products absolutely risk-free with no obligation. Only pay shipping. There are no expensive meal plans or exhausting DVDs. Just take Maximum Slim twice a day. It's fast, simple, and now it's guaranteed. Look, you can start losing weight today or not. Go back to your high school days and wear your favorite jeans again. Guaranteed. Call now and get both weight loss formulas free. Call 800-451-0228. 800-451-0228. That's 800-451-0228.
Attention. Have you been in a serious automobile accident? Then you need to call our attorneys now. We specialize in helping our clients get compensated for major auto injuries. If you've been in any type of car or motorcycle accident and you've been seriously injured, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation. Our attorneys have recovered millions and millions of dollars for injured clients. There are no out-of-pocket costs to you ever. We only receive a fee when we win your case. We are available 24/7. If you've been in an accident and been seriously injured, make this free call to our attorneys now. Call the Personal Injury Center at 800-634-1315. 800-634-1315. 800-634-1315. That's 800-634-1315. This ad is paid for by participating member law firms. We are not an attorney referral service. Representation may not be available in your state.
This is Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, coming to you live via the internet, via rebroadcast on WRSDB, the Red State Talk Radio Network, or from the recordings at archives.patrickcomelately.us. Okay, thanks for sticking with me through that break. So before we go back to the elections, I just want to dig up some old history, because something has come to light which yet again emphasizes, looking for the right word there, emphasizes how untrustworthy this regime in the White House is. You may remember a while ago the story of Shirley Sherrod. Shirley Sherrod was the black lady who was caught on tape giving some story about basically giving preferential treatment to black people in a particular situation. And this was released by Andrew Breitbart before his unfortunate demise. And she was a Department of Agriculture official. Now, when the full tape and what she was saying was released, it turned out it wasn't quite as bad as it seemed. It seemed as if she was biased towards black farmers and basically not helping white farmers. And the example she gave was slightly different. The tape had been edited in such a way that it showed her in not such a good light. And of course, as a result of that, she was basically forced to resign after some shenanigans backwards and forwards. But all along, the White House claimed that they had nothing to do with it. Well, some emails have been released, I think in connection with other things, and somebody discovered in there some very interesting information. And so now it turns out that the fact that Jay Carney in 2012 saying the emails confirm what we have said at the time, which is that the White House had no involvement in the decision made regarding Ms. Sherrod's employment, her firing, but we were made aware of the decision that had been made by the Department of Agriculture. In other words, throwing the head of the Department of Agriculture at the time, Tom Vilsack, under the bus. Now, as I said, new emails were released which basically undermine Carney's statement. In other words, Carney was lying. Well, of course, we know Carney lies. We know he lies all the time. So it's not really much of a surprise. But folks, we need to realize that this White House has been lying to us time and time and time again. And so hopefully the fact that the GOP tonight will take power of both sides of the House, both sides of the Congress, both the House and the Senate, is very important, because it means they will be able to put brakes on what this corrupt, incompetent, inept government administration is trying to do. And I say incompetent and inept, but they're competent enough to really mess us up and to constantly lie to us, which is unfortunate. And I'm just hearing some things. It looks as if we might have actually hit the magic +6. Let me just take a quick look here. No, it's not on Fox yet, but I heard some cheering from the TV in the other room, so it sounds like we might be there. Anyway, so let's go back to Shirley Sherrod. So, the email which was released says, the White House is involved and we are waiting for the go-ahead to accept her resignation. I suspect some direction from the White House soon. And this is Vilsack writing in a 2010 email to Sherrod's boss. And I will lay you odds 10-1 that the direction from the White House was actually coming from Valerie Jarrett. But that's a whole other story. We don't know that for certain. But this was released last week, and this is very, very important, because the White House said they had absolutely nothing to do with it. And yet they were. Now, Breitbart said that the White House were the ones that took the initiative to get rid of her. And the White House denied it strenuously. And so now this new email is very, very telling. And Breitbart's wife, who's actually been sued by Shirley Sherrod because of the fact that she lost her job and the claim that the video was edited, etc., this could have a huge impact on that. And by the way, the answer from Breitbart at the time was that he hadn't edited it to make Shirley Sherrod look bad, but he wanted to show the reaction of the NAACP, where she was speaking to her story, and show how racist they were, which that story actually very clearly did. So, folks, don't trust this government. They are totally untrustworthy. Okay, I think I'm going to do a quick thing on my weekly commentary. And I've touched on some of these subjects before, but I kind of want to bring it all together in a group, on this day. And basically, obviously, it is midterm election today, and we now know that there is a very good chance that the GOP has actually hit the magic 6. Still nothing on the Fox News website, but so the chances are very good. And like I said, and this is in spite of all the shenanigans that we'll try and get to later in the show. What's very interesting is that the little dictator all of a sudden woke up and realized that he's going to lose his gatekeeper in the Senate, Dingy Harry, the one who's been blocking all the bills that come from the House. And so now he's decided to call a meeting on Friday of both Democrat and Republican congressional leaders. So finally he's going to try and get a bipartisan meeting together. Now, in 6 years, as far as I know, he's probably only had 1 or 2 other such meetings where he actually has all of the leaders. I think he's also had one where he had Boehner and they played a round of golf together or whatever. We don't really count playing golf, but right. But actual bipartisan meetings, all I know about is 2 or 3. He has really been very standoffish about having anything to do with the other side. So now all of a sudden, the writing's on the wall, and now he's going to take action and try and have a bipartisan meeting. This is just so blatantly transparent and BS that it's unbelievable. I think one of those bipartisan meetings as well was hardly bipartisan. He basically took the Republicans into a room and told them to sit down and shut up because basically he said, I won, and so what I say goes. I'm paraphrasing a little bit there, but I think it kind of sums up the message he was putting across. So I hardly call that a bipartisan meeting. So anyway, so maybe at most he's had one real bipartisan meeting, but think things like Obamacare, the Republicans were totally shut out. So many other things, but the regressives just totally shut the Republicans out. And now all of a sudden he wants a bipartisan meeting. And I'm sure they're going to try and spin it and show how obstructionist the Republicans are. Well, believe me, folks, we should all be hot on the phone lines and tell them when you go in on Friday, be as obstructionist as you can, because this little trumped-up dictator in the White House needs to be taught a lesson. And hopefully we'll see that. I don't know how much of a backbone John Boehner and Mitch McConnell will have. I really hope, actually, that the GOP goes in and says, now, we won now. So you can beg us to pass anything that you want, and it's going to cost you dearly, because if we pass anything that you want, we will make you give us things for which we have been asking for years. And I suggest they say, as a starter, just kind of an appetizer, just a amuse-bouche, as the French like to say, awakening the palate. How about the XL pipeline as a starter? So I think I would like to think that they go in and do that. Do they have the backbone to do it? I don't know. And as part of my commentary, then also, what will the little dictator do with any number of the bills that are now going to be hitting his desk in the next couple of weeks? Next couple of weeks, next couple of years, because of course it's not going to be till January that even if we do get control of the Senate, that won't start until January. So what's he going to do with those bills? Is he going to veto all of them? I don't know. He's not going to like it. If he does, how's that going to affect the Democrat that's going to take over his job? I mean, it's going to show that the Democrats are suddenly painted as the party of no, or will he grudgingly have to sign the bills? What's going to happen? Be interesting to see how obstructionist then the minority party, the Democrats, would be. It's going to be some interesting times there. And not just that, but what about getting his own policies pushed through? What about his executive orders? Now that they have both houses, will the GOP be able to, or will they stand up to him? Will they use their backbone, and they'll be able to use the power of the purse and to say for every, for all these executive orders that he passes, they can pass a law that basically negates it. They can pass a law that defunds it. They can do all of that. What will dear leader do about that? I mean, that's really going to be very interesting. Anyway, folks, we've reached the bottom of the show, and I haven't even played any music yet. So let's have some commercials, and then let's start a little bit of a party and play some celebratory music. So time for a quick break, and I will be back after these messages.
Patriot come lately. British by birth. American by choice. Just like the Founding Fathers. The voice of the conservative resistance.
Every day, millions of Americans grow more concerned about the future of our great nation. The truth is, over the last century, a small but powerful collectivist movement known as progressivism has debased our politics, our culture, and our currency. We're just a small step from falling into 1,000 years of darkness, as Ronald Reagan warned. Friend, this is Pat Boone with an important free offer on a hot new book called The Great Withdrawal by Craig Smith and Lowell Ponte. This new book explains how we, the people, can end this fatal detour into big government and get back on the path of faith and freedom charted by our founders. Call now for a free copy of the hot new book called The Great Withdrawal.
Call now for your free copy. 800-978-3901. 800-978-3901. 800-978-3901. That's 800-978-3901.
Boy, man, I had a rough night's sleep. Boy, I got a letter from the IRS yesterday, and I just couldn't sleep. Man, I'm dying here. Somebody help me.
IRS problems affect more than just your finances. If you're ready to take back control of your life and you owe more than $10,000, you need to call the tax doctor. Their expert staff can immediately protect you from the IRS and state collectors and get you the best possible tax settlement guaranteed. The IRS has recently released new programs geared in helping struggling taxpayers, where you may qualify to settle your tax debt and wipe out up to 85% or more of what you currently owe. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, call the tax doctor right now. See if you qualify to pay less. 800-917-8546. 800-917-8546. 800-917-8546. Again, 800-917-8546.
This is Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, coming to you live via the internet, via rebroadcast on WRSDB, the Red State Talk Radio Network, or from the recordings at archives.patrickcomelately.us. And we're into the second part of the show. This is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately. Just a reminder, folks, if you like the show, please remember to tell your friends. They can listen here live, 8 p.m. Pacific, which means 9 Mountain, 10 Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern on a Tuesday evening at radio.patrickcomelately.us. You can also listen to the recordings after the fact at archives.patrickcomelately.us, where you can also download an MP3 file. You can also actually listen to the recordings at radio.patrickcomelately.us as well. You don't have to just go there for the live show. You can also listen to the later show and also past shows. You can also download an MP3 file there. But I also keep the archives as a separate site, archives.patrickcomelately.us, just an easy way to get there. Of course, the show also gets rebroadcast on the Red State Talk Radio Network. Primo Mondone, the owner, has just recently rejigged the schedule, so I'm not sure what times the show is going out. I'll have to go in and I'll let you know. And I'm also connected now to the Freedom in America radio network. So if you go to freedominamericaradio.com or .net, not sure, I'll have to find that out for next week's show. You can search on that, Freedom in America Radio. Also gets broadcast there, I believe, at the same time as the live show. So plenty of ways to listen, and of course there are some terrestrial radios and normal radio stations that rebroadcast the Red State Talk radio feed. So you might be listening to this over a normal transistor radio or in your car radio. If you are, thank you. But you can also pick it up on the internet as indicated. So remember, please share it with your friends. We may have had a good night tonight for the Republicans, not as good for the Conservatives, and we need to make sure that we continue to put pressure on the Republicans to make sure that they stick with conservative topics for the next couple of years and at least get someone to challenge the Democrats for the White House, someone who is more on the conservative side and not a wishy-washy, namby-pamby type middle-of-the-road elitist GOP person. Might be difficult, but we really have to try and do that. So I promised a little bit of celebratory music, and of course one of those great Tea Party and for me inspirational anthems comes from Krista Branch, and if you like the song, you can find it on iTunes. You can also find it at kristabranch.com. Give a listen. The words are great. The music's great too. Yes, that great song, Krista Branch, I Am America, We Are All America, and the people have spoken. Now, I'm just looking at the numbers, and actually, Fox News said Joni Ernst was being projected to take Iowa, and that was the one that pushes over the top. They're already showing now 52 on the Republican side. There are 45 on the Democrat side. That leaves 3 open. One of those at least is going to be Alaska, and there's a very good likelihood we'll take that. So we could be at 53, 54, or even 55 if we win all of those 3 remaining ones. So I think a very good result, and folks, that's I'm just really happy. Like I said before, the GOP is not perfect, but they're infinitely better than our dear friend Dingy Harry controlling the Senate and pretending that the GOP was the party of no when he was the one stuffing all the bills that came from the House into his bottom drawer, or maybe even the round filing cabinet. Yeah, trash can. So hopefully now we've got the number, and even if one of those 3 that are remaining was a GOP seat that we lose, we're still going to be ahead. I'm pretty certain we're not going to lose 2 of them, which would bring us back to 50-50, and that would let the court jester be the deciding vote, and that would leave Dingy Harry in control. So I think we're okay. I think we've done it. So that is, like I said, that's great news. So let's get back to talking about what this means. And before we do this, I want to talk about there's a website out there called the Daily Signal, fairly new. If you haven't been there before, I do encourage you to go. Daily Signal was started by Cheryl Atkinson after leaving her job at CBS. And one of the main reasons that she left her job at CBS was because management was interfering too much with her news reporting, often suppressing articles or telling her to ignore following up on certain topics if they were unsupportive of the Obama regime. In the past, I think I've, probably about a year ago, maybe 9 months, also on this show, I made mention that she was complaining about her computers being hacked. Recently, she came out with video proof, and she actually shows strange manipulation of documents on her computer screen. You can actually see things being deleted, which she's typed in, even while she was working on them. Now, she had people come in and look at this, not just one person, but a number of computer forensic experts investigate it, and at least 2 of them confirmed that the software that was being used to hack into her computer and mess around with her documents was 99% certain to have come from one of probably 4 3-letter government agencies. I think the 4 are probably the FBI, CIA, NSA, and DIA. Not sure which ones. If you go to the Daily Signal, you can probably find out. And of course, Cheryl Atkinson has now come out with the book describing her journey and describing how CBS and the government were working hard to basically suppress what she was doing. Remember the First Amendment, folks? Government's not supposed to do that. Another example of this regime breaking the Constitution. Folks, when are we going to wake up to these folks? Anyway, so she started the site. It has a lot of useful information. And after the break, I want to add a little bit about some commentary from one of the contributors to that site. Somebody from the Heritage Foundation, and his idea of what a difference a conservative Congress, or he calls it a conservative Congress, I think we have to say a Republican Congress, could make, and that is, of course, assuming that John Boehner and Mitch McConnell grow a pair of what is needed to stand up to this regime. And as we know, the lawlessness, they will be going all out, and I can guarantee you now, to find out every last piece of dirt on every possible Republican politician so they can put the screws on them and try and force them to carry out things that they don't want to do. Boy, it is going to be I feel sorry for some of the Republican politicians in Washington, because it is going to be messy. Anyway, before we do that, quick break again, pay the rent. I will be back right after this.
Reporting from the eye of the storm. This is the worst weather we've seen in quite some time, folks. And I don't see any end in sight. People have been calling in from across the state complaining their basements are flooding. One guy said he now has an indoor swimming pool in his basement. I told him he needs the waterproofing innovations from Basement Systems. If you want a dry basement or crawl space that will weather any kind of storm, you need the patented solutions from Basement Systems. You've seen them on home makeover shows throughout the country. With a lifetime warranty, every solution is custom designed for your basement. Call now for a free estimate, and you'll never have to worry about storms like these again. I'm predicting this storm front is heading your way, so call Basement Systems and relax.
Call 800-205-8665 for your free in-home inspection, or visit basementradiooffer.com. That's 800-205-8665, or visit basementradiooffer.com.
I've owned my company for 14 years now, and I can tell you that payroll is a 4-letter word. I hate doing it. It eats up hours I don't have, and it costs me money I could be saving. But my accountant's too expensive, and I'm not sure who to call. But I know I need help.
We're Paychex, and we take all the hassles out of small business payroll. We save you time and money. It's easy. Call, fax, or give us your payroll information securely online, and we take care of the rest. We calculate the correct taxes, manage payments and direct deposits. We even send out your checks. Payroll doesn't need to be a 4-letter word anymore. We're so sure that we can save you time and money that we'll give you a month's payroll free. Just for calling 877-750-5371. Get 1 month's payroll for free. Call Paychex right now. 877-750-5371. That's 877-750-5371.
This is Patrick Come Lately Talk Radio, coming to you live via the internet, via rebroadcast on WRSDB, the Red State Talk Radio Network, or from the recordings at archives.patrickcomelately.us. And folks, we're into the final segment of the show. Yet again, time is running along a lot quicker. Again, for our live listeners, and I apologize to those of you listening to the recordings, because a lot of this now will be known. But as I said, the last count was 52 for the Republicans, so we have more than the 51 needed. But also some other interesting things. The Democratic governor in Democratic Illinois, right, corruption capital of America, Pat Quinn, has been ousted by the Republican Bruce Rauner. Now, another one that's probably totally a surprise, because at least I would have figured that the corruption is so endemic in Illinois that it's virtually impossible for a Republican to oust a Democrat. But no, that's President Obama's... sorry. I used the P word in connection with Obama's name. My apologies. It's Dear Leader's home state of Illinois. Well, sort of his home state. And but for that to turn Republican, there's another slap in the face. I'm really having a lot of fun tonight, folks. And yes, we lost a few. Scott Brown didn't make it, although he's vowed not to give up, because the margin is too small. So who knows what will happen there? But also other good news. Scott Walker won yet again, in spite of millions of dollars being poured in to try and get rid of him. Of course, the margin of defeat that Mitch McConnell defeated Allison Grimes in Kentucky was amazing. Greg Abbott beat Wendy, what's her name, the right to life, the right to abortion person, the pro-choice lady, and becomes the first governor in a wheelchair that's been elected there for quite some time. I think probably Was it Governor Wallace in Mississippi was probably the last one. That's a while back. So like I said, the one or two places that we'd hoped to do better, we didn't do as well as we should, but we've done well enough, and we got a lot of very good results. So, folks, it really is a great evening. So, the Daily Signal, they had an article. Let me just quickly take some key points out of that by Lee Edwards. He's a distinguished fellow in conservative thought at the Heritage Foundation, and he's a leading historian of American conservatism. And he says, what difference can a conservative Congress make? Well, like I said, I don't think the Congress is going to be conservative. It's going to be Republican, and a lot of the Republicans themselves are regressives. But if he says, if the Republicans do capture the Senate, retain their majority, well, they increase their majority by double digits in the House of Representatives as well. Will they be able to move America forward to greater freedom, opportunity, and prosperity? Or, as some cynics claim, will a conservative or Republican Congress and a liberal president simply produce more of the divided, uber-partisan government that has characterized Washington the last 2 years? Well, there's a lot of things, Mr. Edwards says, that a Republican Congress can propose and dispose of in a number of ways. With one eye on his legacy and another on the 2016 elections, King Barry will not dare veto or block every conservative proposal. And he suggests the following. Because of our ingenuity and technological skill, we have to become the world's leading oil and natural gas producer. A top priority of the new Congress should be to secure the approval of the Keystone XL pipeline. That's one thing I said we should. That on the Friday meeting, one of the things that the GOP should walk in the door and said, "We've won, so here's what we want. You want anything of your policies? We want this as a sweetener, as a proof of your willingness to work with us." Mr. Edwards also suggests that the tax code should be looked at, simplified. Right? He says it's so cumbersome and complicated that even Ernst & Young is not sure what is in it. Never mind the IRS, because half the time they get it wrong as well. So we should have a reformed code with a flat fair rate, or perhaps even a fair tax for all, and also lower the corporate tax because it's the highest in the industrial world, so that U.S. corporations will stop moving overseas, they'll stay at home, and maybe even bring back the trillions of dollars that they're keeping abroad because of the high corporate tax. Right? Mr. Edwards says it's unacceptable. We have a national debt of almost $18 trillion, which is about $300,000 per American family. Can you imagine that? Every American family has a debt which is probably larger than any mortgage most of them have. So we have to start reducing federal spending. Well, that's one area. Mr. Edwards is very, I think, pie in the sky, because I don't really see that happening, because the regressives in the GOP establishment love the power, love Washington, love big government because it's jobs for them, and that's not going to happen. But anyway, so, and then he also talks about making sure that the army is strong, etc. Plenty of good ideas. But we'll see what will happen. Okay, folks, I see it's time for us to be going. Just like to say again, if you like the show, please tell your friends, acquaintances, and family. If you don't like the show, please tell your enemies. Ta-ta for now. See you next week, and we'll have a bigger analysis of what's going to be happening, especially after Friday's meeting. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the show. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's topics. Whether you listened live, to a recording, or to a rebroadcast, I appreciate the time you share with me. We need to spread the message of liberty far and wide, so please tell your friends and family about the show. Thank you for helping to keep the beacon of hope burning. This is Stefan, your Patrick Come Lately, signing off. God bless America, and remember, L3, long live liberty.